This is a Gobot. Technically, it's a Transformer, since in 1987, Tonka, who originally produced Gobots, got bought out by Kenner, and in 1991, those companies got bought out by Hasbro. Technically, Transformer. Technically, a Gobot. But why am I specifically looking at Crasher here, which was a Speedia500 release, exclusive to Walmart last year in 2022? Why? Well, you'll notice she's the only one. Where are my other Gobots? I mean, come on, you've got molds for Scooter. You have two obvious contenders for Leader 1 as well. More than a couple of ideas for, say, I don't know, Turbo. Add in with the addition of things like Coptor. Hell, technically you even have a Rescue mold and a Pumper mold, which, yeah, his head's cut off, but my point is there's so many different molds that Transformers and Hasbro own and have currently. Where are my other Gobots? But back to Crasher for a second. Now, while Crasher as a Renegade / Decepticon might be a strange place to start, it actually makes perfect sense. It was brought out in a subline exclusive to a specific store and released in limited quantities, much like the Generation Selects G2, Megatron, and Sandstorm, I believe, and was it Dirge? These sublines of Transformers history kind of delve very deep into specific subsets that maybe not every fan will go for. But having mentioned a couple of those G2 Transformers a second ago, we even got a 2023 subline again at Walmart, Toxitron, which reintroduced the Mirage mold in watermelon colors. Watermelon colors? Which proves, really, if the want is there, Hasbro will deliver. And for the fact that still online, I have people say that they cannot find this Crasher for love nor money, yet we're finding G2 already, and even recently getting release hints of the Rock Lords before any of the main Gobots cast, is kind of insane. Now that might leave you scratching your heads. Why would a subset of a subset of a subset, technically, be released before any of the original Gobot characters? It mainly comes down to the fact that there was only one released in the entire Speedia500 line, which seems to have died on its feet, even though we're supposed to be getting a reissue Hot Rod in animation accurate colors, which, yeah, I don't really see popping up anytime soon. But for the fact that Generation 2 got figures of designs that didn't even make it to production, while Gobots, a very cult fan favorite franchise that got welcomed in or bought out by Hasbro into the Transformers line, and Crasher is the only one we've seen, it kind of begs the question, where are my Gobots? And yeah, it might be a popularity thing, but as I already stated, there's so many different molds that Hasbro currently owns and are still bringing out, from the likes of Siege. This Mirage mold, which Crasher is based on, we've been seeing since 2019. That's almost 4 years old, and it's still coming out, and it still seems fresh, to me at least. And that's another reason why I don't think we've seen any more Gobots. I personally think the reason we're not seeing any is because this figure got such critical backlash. I have not watched one 100% good review on this, from the reuse of a head, which people weren't fond of, to the reuse of the actual body itself. No new parts, no new weapons. The fact that it didn't look 100% like Crasher, I mean, come on. It's a company which is reusing parts in order to create different characters, which, in all honesty, could be the same transform-wise, if you wish. But really, it was okay. Honestly, the color palette in this light looks really good. The whites are bright white, and I've not had any yellowing, which, you know, yellowing is a problem on white plastic right now and grey plastic. So for a figure that's like a year old and it's not showing any of those telltale yellowing signs is actually pretty good. Another good thing is the red and the black do mesh well together, and though the head sculpt isn't exactly Crasher, it does invoke that Crasher-esque. Remember, this is a line that's supposed to be kind of G1ified, meshing of the two. So all in all, for what we got, I really love it, and especially in this light, it really picks out all the good detail. Contrast Crasher against her mold mate 80s Mirage, Watermelon Mirage. It's pretty much, he looks like a Jolly Rancher. I'm sorry, it's just weird. The colouring on the Mirage mold is very much eye-catching and just meant to grab your attention. It's meant to invoke a certain aesthetic quality of a certain decade, whereas Crasher is emulating a classic 80s character and doing a much better job of it than, say, invoking a whole decade, mainly because it's a lot more subtle. Also, you may have noticed on the Mirage version, there's a couple of paint scratches on the front, which I may have mentioned previously or in my Instagram posts, but also the torso and the waist doesn't click in correctly. So right now it's just kind of settling there, and even the slightest bend can kind of split him in two, whereas Crasher still feels nice, tight. It feels like there's no strangeness or no degradation in the mold, and that's another plus in my book. Crasher transforms into a Formula One style vehicle, much like Mirage, more than her from the original cartoon, which was more of a street racing Ferrari type car, if I'm remembering correctly. I may not be. So it's not entirely Crasher-like. It does feel more like Mirage, but again, the color works and the way it's all distributed just to me seems so much better than a lot of the releases that we're getting in sublines currently. It feels a lot more thought out, like someone actually put some care and attention and detail and love into this figure, even though it is just a remold. While there is a lot of competition on collectors' shelves, especially Transformers, for things that stand out, I think the Gobots line would benefit from more characters, even if just to satisfy our own curiosities to see what a Generation 1 / Gobots, Renegades and Heroes, or whatever they were called on the good guys side. I never remember the good guys, just the bad guys. So for now, I think this is all we're probably gonna get from the Gobots line, apart from, again, the Rock Lords. I mean, the Rock Lords, seriously, like, we're getting a subline of a subline. We're getting something that wasn't even that popular before something that is cult favorite. I mean, what the hell is the matter with you, Hasbro? What the hell is the matter? So for the time being, this Crasher, which is a perfectly good figure, much better in execution than so many other figures that we've had recently, Toxitron Mirage. It's kind of like, this is all we're gonna get until the Rock Lords, and I'm really hoping that we do start to see a cascade of Gobot inspired figures coming through, even if they're not the mainline 6 good guys and bad guys that we know and love. At least we've got Crasher, and that, to me, that should be something. Seriously, Rock Lords before goddamn Gobots? What the hell is the matter?
This is crazy.
Yeah, and so's Crasher.
Thank you for making it to the end of this rather rambly video, but good intentions meant. Just felt like no one had mentioned Gobots in a while, and yet, again, Rock Lords. I'm not angry, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, and that's exactly what your parents said to make you feel that much more worse. You know it's true.
Devastating indeed.